Hello everyone, this is Eirill speaking, and I would like to showcase the new Phantasmal Princess build. If you are looking for a great PvE build able to massacre enemies, this isn't one of them, sadly. Unless you're on the Southern Curve. This build is based around the idea of constant weapon swaps, blocks, reflects, and phantasms. Notably, Phantasmal Defender is in use. This is a small-scale build in world versus world. The more people there are, the less efficient are phantasms and the damage from blocks. I can solo an unupgraded camp in 2 minutes 30 seconds using this build. It's a long time, still acceptable. A sword focus plus scepter sword phantasm build. The assumption is simple. Soldier arm of Melandru, knight trinkets. Reality, I have what I have. Traits, phantasms get 30% damage more, and if you get 3 illusions, you add 9% more damage and get 9% less damage, which compounds with Phantasmal Defender. Blade Training helps in both configurations. Sword Focus is your short range, immobilize, reflect and utility option, and Scepter Sword is 2 blocks, medium range and powerful phantasm option. To show how this build works, I present you a duel with a very good ranger from Fremen Siege. Unknown ranger, I salute you. Please notice, I was trying to cast a Phantasmal Defender, but the ranger sick his pet on me and moved away. That way he got a range advantage and I got neutralized for a while, having to avoid the attacks from a pet and being able to do nothing. Temporal Curtain is a reflect tool. Even after I detonate it, the reflect part and combo fields still work, as you can see. The big disadvantage of block skills: you need to get targeted. It isn't that simple, as enemies tend not to target you when they see the animation. Conclusion: actively seek red circles. Quite counterintuitive, but works. Scepter has range 900 on the free skill, but you have range 2200 on the sword Phantasm. Phantasm is short range though, so AoEs neutralize him very well. In this clip, that ranger managed to evade the immobilized from illusionary leap by dodging away. Same with damage from block. Honestly, he's good. If I didn't have my reflect skills on Curtain and Warden, I would be on losing position when he dodges away my immobilize. Even then, it's his pet against me versus my phantasms against him. After I pull the ranger, he turns invisible. I don't know that trait, as I'm not well versed in fighting rangers, but I do know where he should more or less land. So I attack the air and I manage to hit him sometimes. The retaliation damage enemy gets comes from attacking phantasms, and the defender compounds it, as it is damaged every time any phantasm or me are damaged. So in the best situation, having 3 illusions, the defender will proc retaliation 4 times if all illusions and me are hit. Especially awesome in team when Thief uses Dagger Storm. Do not be afraid to use Blur Frenzy defensively, even without hitting enemies. Survival is more important than damage. I won this fight, thanks to a combination of Phantasmal Swordsman's leap and my Sigil of Hydromancy's damage. Enemies attacked this camp unaware that the supervisor has Righteous Indignation buff. Using Pull and Immobilize on an Elementalist, I have managed to have one downed. I am trying to screen behind the camp and go for a kill when possible. Sadly, this isn't possible this time. They are kiting the camp, which is a good move, but they aren't focusing fire on anything. Sadly, as they move quite a lot, not much I can do to them in the sword focus configuration at this moment. I moved to the front and used the pull from a curtain to irritate them. I hoped someone will focus fire me to have a way to damage them with 2 consecutive blocks. Didn't happen. Blocks spread between enemies, a lovely crit for 4000 damage, but one enemy got low on hit points, so I shattered. Being in a Phantasm build doesn't mean you cannot shatter, it simply means you don't do it all the time. Decoy to mask my movements, blink to now helpless elementalist, and one enemy is down. Scepter and Sword give you one quite damaging, medium-ranged channel skill, combined with a Phantasm which can deal a lot of damage with a single hit. Last enemy, an Elementalist. I didn't expect a melee one, so I made a mistake switching configuration. Fortunately, I am quite armored, so the mistake was not fatal. This video starts as a 2 vs 2 fight, but quickly evolves into 2 vs many one. Please enjoy! In this video I would like to introduce Drew on a ranger named Sprout. One of my very favorite party mates. We love to go out there and die together. Usually we get some epic fights, especially as we both tend to be very suicidal and rarely escape. I can only imagine those fights if we had voice communications. If you have nothing better to do and won't spoil your party mate's plan, simply detonate the curtain. You may pull an enemy, spoil their carefully prepared skill, and make them lose precious seconds to readjust where am I. Fighting inside the dense foliage, like here, tends to make cameras dizzy. Enemies tend to lose more in this situation. You will see when we went outside the foliage, the fight got worse. Using decoy is a great way to heal yourself quite safely, and casting phantasms doesn't break stealth. While I am being fired at, the phantasms do the dirty work and fight, spreading the enemies and making it impossible to purely focus on us. Bonus point, reflections from Warden. A block killed an enemy phantasm, second one hurt a player. Now a fifth appears low on hit points. Sigil of Hydromancy slows him down and Blurred Frenzy downs him while I am invulnerable. Here I should have used a curtain as a reflection tool like against Young Carcass. Didn't have to detonate it. Well, when I am low on hit points I tend to lose my cool. Phantasmal Defender I've cast effectively doubled my hit points and gave enemies some small retaliation damage. Thieves aren't easy to stomp. Teleport and invisibility mean that it's usually better to DPS them in downstate. A major mistake on my part. I shouldn't have ever let them pulled me on the open road. When I was in the forest, enemies, while tabbing, targeted all kinds of animals and had to fight against camera as well. It is always good to stomp inside the Warden. Warden reflects projectiles, so it forces enemies to come towards you. Ranged daisies, knockback projectiles, they will be reflected to the source. Besides, proximity to phantasms give you regeneration. It's always nice. Slowly, enemies start to focus, and even having soldier and knight equipment I can't live forever. Fortunately, you can always blink away to get some distance. Now, a neat trick. I used mass invisibility elite skill, and while invisible I used a decoy. As I never left invisibility state, I did not get revealed debuff, but a clone appeared. I got 7 seconds of stealth, enough to heal myself somewhat. A close range charge. Block, block, swap for Hydromancy, Blurred Frenzy, dodge away. In this case, curtain detonation and dodge away. As I have high crit chance, I have almost permanent vigor. Not to mention Sprout's field, which additionally gives me vigor. Blink away, heal, return. Could have made one dodge more to prolong the fight, but at this point I was done for. I have run out of options. A good fight, and I am proud to be able to die in such a nice company. Ah yes, BNF. Every server has a guild like that. Small and very, very good. If you win on equal terms with them, you are mighty proud of yourself. I had to pull them from Shadow Refuge using curtain detonation. Imagine this, a group of very good players invisible making a first strike with lots of crowd control against a target of their choice? Scary thought. I was steamrolled like that once, by the way. Please notice how they almost ignored me focusing on Drew. Desert Elementalist, sure, but even with high damage from blocks, I cannot outdamage his regeneration. I was jumping between the targets, seeking for a weak spot, but all are in defensive configurations. They ignore my attacks, still focusing on Drew, who is running out of escape tools. The build I am using has no bone stripping and no spike damage, other than blocks or phantasms, which are very unreliable in fights with high number of AoEs. Fortunately, our goal has been achieved. The camp is ours for the stick. Seems of all targets the Elementalist is the best choice to attack because of the red circles. I can force, block to deal damage to him, however unnatural this seems. Reinforcements have arrived. A friendly thief joined the fight. Whenever an ally is downed and the enemy tries to stomp, you are very happy that you have that temporal curtain ready to detonate. Sadly, this time it wasn't enough to be able to stop them. After I used Phantasmal Defender, please notice the amount of retaliation damage on an enemy thief using Dagger Storm. Inspiration Mesmer with Phantasms with Phantasmal Defender is a nightmare for a thief using Dagger Storm. This video shows the main weakness of the build I am using right now. I have only one main interrupt, the Temporal Curtain, although I can use Sword Block skill twice to days in line. If enemies do not attack me but do not allow me to build the Phantasms, I cannot reliably deal damage and spikes. If multiple enemies fight me, blocks will strike at different enemies and they can easily heal it. The above will be very aggravated in large group fights. Where the water fields and combo fields rule, Phantasmal Defender is useless. Where AoEs are numerous, Phantasms are useless at all. Where multiple enemies attack from all sides, blocks as damaging skills won't do much. But for small fights this is a fun build, especially if you make less mistakes than I do. Thank you for watching, Eirill out.